get the temperature. Do you want to play or not? There goes the handshake, and we'll see. Whoa!
Hey, I want to play.
That says I want to play.
That's
I'm
right.
not going to give you some straight theoretical line for you not to just make any kind of draw for you to show your theory.
Who was the eloquent guy who was explaining that we're going to see a game between these two stars?
What you got to point out is that you were right. It means some self-esteem.
Just a second. Just a second. I still got to applaud myself. I mean, my arm is kind of stuck.
We got it. Okay. Looks like you were correct on this one, but here is Nepo thinking about it. It looks like he does want to just win a completely irrelevant game for the standings. Kudos to him. We like to see fighting chess from champions.
Absolutely.
If Magnus were sitting in Nepo's chair, do you think Magnus would try to win?
Yes.
Of course Magnus would try to win.
I'm world champion, says Magnus.
Because you got to have swag when you're at the top.
Right.
And Magnus has all of that. And if Nepo is going to challenge Magnus, he's got to say to the world, I got that kind of attitude as well. To demolish whoever I'm in front of, even if it's irrelevant. Although he did draw against Vlad, which I think, again, comes down to just wanting to be nice to his countrymen. But here comes Wesley looking to trade off a pair of knights.
Exactly. 94. When you said, like entering the World Championship with swag, I gotta tell you, Bobby Fischer. I mean, he comes to his World Championship match against Boris Spassky, says, I'm the rightful world champion. I'll tell you what, and I'm here to win the title, which he did. Nepo is the challenger of Magnus Carlsen, and he is going to be the underdog in that match. He's got to have a certain swagger.
Yes, indeed. You've got to have that kind of attitude when you're trying to be a champion.
No question.
So respect to him. But right now he's playing a bit slowly. He's not going a pace.
Well, I guess he was a little bit worried that a bishop e4 would force too many trades. He wants to keep pieces on the board if he hopes to, challenge Wesley's defenses.
Well, you're talking about pieces on the board. We're seeing pieces leave the board. Knight takes on c3, followed by bishop takes on d3. How much of an edge could you possibly have here against Black's super solid structure? Queen e7, castles has been played, castles kingside, and Wesley could do the same. Wesley doesn't want to take any chances of play e5, does he?
No, I'm thinking he might want to stop e3, e4 and play the move f7, fi as a prelude. No, he's playing a5, so he's threatening to pick off this pawn. He couldn't have done it the moment before. Bishop takes a3 would have walked into c5. And yes, we see it now very clearly, e3, e4. Jan trying to mix it up.
Why not? This move, you still can't take the pawn on a3 because of c5. So,
Takes a3, c5 would be problematic to say the least. Here, now, after castles, okay. I could take twice in d5 and end up with a rook on the open file, followed by knight to e5. That's a little bit better for white, but maybe rook e1.
And the move e5 in this position normally is a space gainer, but you do have to worry about bishop takes on b2. I mean,
bishop
takes
a3.
on a3. I said b2 because he just moved his bishop to b2. Often happens to us commentators, anticipating moves. And so now white has some space, but it ain't much.
Just a very strange move for me was the move bishop e2. For me, the move a3, a4 is an automatic. I'm getting my pawn off a vulnerable square while I'm keeping an eye on the pawn on a5, bishop e2. Not my first instinct.
All right, so queen to h4. He's going to put a rook on e1, and one day, I said one day, I was thinking one day play the move d5, but Wesley has decided to play b5 and make you think about that one very quickly. Dynamic chess, again, Wesley does not want to lose the last game, walk out of here with a loss, even though he's won the tournament. That's not how you do it.
What do you think of the move d5? d5, d4, d5, right here, right now. If you go e6 takes d5, I'll take on b5 and I'll play rook e1. Could cause some consternation.
94.
So after d5, you could take on c4. I take on c6. You take on
Bishop c1. That bishop has been dancing and prancing. It began on c1.
Are we sure?
And it's come all the way around and is back on c1.
Wesley very quickly took on c4. Played move c5. I was thinking there might have been an opportunity for a4. Basically, Wesley saying, "Hey, look, bishop g5 is not a big threat at all. I mean, the worst thing that could happen is you double the pawn to bishop1. I'll take on c4 and I'll liquidate my own defense."
Yeah, this maneuver by the bishops is quite awkward.
Not in
To say the least, it's been moving so much to end up back on the c1 square. Wesley will now target the pawn on c4, and I think Jan is slowly kind of coming to grips here.
Well,
and he's played a4 now. The move you had said should have been played a long time ago.
If I was about to say, if there was any swagger in the position, it had to be based on d5. Go ahead and take the pawn. I'll play rook e1, and I'll end up playing bishop g5, sacrificing the pawn, leaving with this pawn on c5. But Jan played a4, and I got to tell you, I feel that Wesley has basically more than equalized.
More than equalized. Now that c-pawn is coming on the fire. Will Wesley accept the draw if... Oh, yeah,
there's no draw.
There's a repetition, for example, will he accept the draw? But right now,
yes,
we are in this situation. You could play bishop to takes, and allow, set a trap. Yes, if you could make that move on the board.
Sure, bishop e3.
Bishop e3 takes.
Oops, that was my bad. Bishop e3
takes on, takes, bishop takes.
Nice.
And now
the pawn. Give me the pawn.
Ooh, I win a pawn. No you don't. Bishop takes f6, and your rook is hanging.
Oops.
But actually, yeah, and then if rook takes queen, we take your queen, and your rook is still hanging twice on the h4 square. So
winning material.
Wait, that's what happened. Well, he didn't take on c4,
right?
But he did play bishop e3, and we're in this position. And smartly, of course, he did not take.
There is e5 with the idea that if you win me, then I can take the pawn on c4.
Played rook to b8, and Wesley dropped back with bishop to c. Nepo dropped back with bishop to c3, hitting the a pawn. Okay. Hard to believe this has real value.
This is how they make a draw: bishop e4, bishop e5, bishop e6, and they make a draw going back and forth.
You're saying Nepo is trying to win, though?
Not anymore. He's worse. He is worse after bishop to c6. Oh my goodness.
Big result. The Bonaronian with the black pieces defeated his good buddy MVL, who was desperate for a win. And they don't make a draw, Yaz. He played rook to d1 and did not repeat. He is trying to win this game. Knight takes on e5. He's made it clear to Wesley. But you know, Wesley's one of those guys. He defends like a beast. You mess up, he gets you. But right now, showing his fighting spirit is Nepo. Give him credit. He'd love to win the last game and walk out of here with some bragging rights and say, this is how future champions get it done. And so here he goes. Queen g5, defending his knight. And Wesley, he played h6, but then queen to e3 or even f4.
So here I'm just wondering about knight maneuver, knight to e4, particularly
queen c5, pinning that piece has been played. And now queen back to f4, pinning the knight. Don't move your knight off of f6 because f7 would hang. So if your knight can't disturb this construction, what are you supposed to do with black? He's played rook to b7, guarding the f7 pawn, and h3 and h6. Two free moves there. That rook at a1 needs to be in the game at some point. Rook to d3, threatening potentially to double or to swing the rook over to the g line. And Jan is trying to pick up the pace. An offer to play rook to b1 by black to trade off rooks. I think he can play king to h2.
Sidestepping.
Typical Gary Kasparov technique. And now this is, and he's played rook to b2, threatening the f pawn.
h2 on the board, sidestepping, and rook b2.
Rook f3, basically rook to e2 now.
Yeah, but rook to
d8.
And knight F.
Yes.
Knight on e5 to d7, followed by queen takes f7. White crashes through. Rook e2. Be a blunder.
Queen back to c7. Look at all these geometrics starting to pop up in the position.
Defending the pawn, hitting the knight. Rook to e1. But okay, white. Black could try to nibble. Could play rook to a2. Threatening rook takes a4.
And how do you make progress?
That's the thing.
Oh wait, rook g3 is possible, no? Oh no, rook g3 runs into knight h5.
Correct.
That's the problem. Rook g3 runs into knight h5.
By the way, that's like gives me a shiver. Yeah, move knight h5 is such a key defensive move. Any rook to g3 walks into 4.
And queen g3 instead, attacking the knight on f6. The threat is rook takes knight because that pawn is pinned. So you don't have time for rook takes on a4. And where do you put? You can't even move the knight easily because of the f7 pawn. So it looks like you have to move the king somewhere.
King f8, king h8, which would be a better move.
No. There's a knight g6 check. Discovery winning your queen.
Me.
So if you move your king, you have to put it on h7.
You're absolutely right.
And he's done so. King to h7 played because that queen is aggressing. The white queen is masking a long attack. So he had to put his king on h7. That does allow a queen d3 check possibility. But where would you put your rook
How do
now?
you get over? How do you get
How
over?
do you get 4? He's playing queen h5, but he's
away.
down to only 5 seconds.
Wow, his clock, he's just frittered away.
What's queen h4? Is he going to take on f6?
No,
Rook down
says,
to b2.
Wesley says, let me counterattack. You have not.
No, but the pawn's not hanging on f2, so rook to e3. And he's playing rook to e2, queen d4. That knight is pinned on e5, and he's taking on f2, threatening big time move of rook takes g2 check. And what's this? We saw a kingside attack, and now it's about the passed pawn on the other side. Rook to g3.
This looks terrible for white.
Oh man, rook to f4, unpinning.
Terrible for white.
Unpinning there, queen back to b2. He's got some kind of shot on the g7 square that Wesley has to watch out for. And the knight's going to move back to f3, and now knight f6, guarding everybody. Queen b6, looking for a trade, but rook c5.
And the
check to the king.
Ooh, he nearly grabbed his rook, which would have allowed. Oh, it's
no,
over.
He just blundered an exchange, and he's won the game.
Wow.
As Wesley, so winning by running away from the field, 3 full points.